Hey, shalom, shalom. Hey, before I get started, I want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto my apostles and others, a great millstone. Peace and safety to all the sincere Akim that's out here pushing this word in truth and in all sincerity. Shalom. And this is another quick lesson through the spirit. Lord willing, is edifying. It's not gonna be a long one. The spirit was on me, so I say, hey, let me utilize it, capitalize, And as the title of this goes, everything could change between the next 30 and 45 days, Now, we know in the scriptures say no man knoweth the day, knoweth the hour, but the Lord. But with these signs, let me get some scriptures. What is that? Ephesians, go there first. These signs are all measuring points for us, right? That's what we use these for, We use these as a gauge to read, to see, okay, things bubbling in this department, things is bubbling in that department. When you watch these apocalyptic movies, a good example of one that I'm thinking is The Day After Tomorrow. And you had the scientists, and they would read their charts, and they would read their what am I trying to say? Their the different radars, and when those radars would go off, that's how they were able to read and say, oh nah, something big is about to happen, and something did. So even with us as men of the Lord, with the understanding, as we bring these understandings, as the scriptures say, who else could say it with conviction and also back it up? All right, this is Ephesians 5 and 15. It says, seeing then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. And that's a key thing here, man. And I'm talking to myself first, is that, we got to move with more wisdom, be more on point, be more cautious, be more aware of your surroundings, be aware of the people that you're dealing with. Everything matters, okay? Where you go shopping, where you get gas from, everything matters, So you got to be circumspect. You got to have your head on a swivel, Like we like to say, a great example is that when you go in the grocery store, man, don't be like these simple ass people, in the grocery store or whatever, just walking around looking simple in the way, get in, get out, That's just being circumspect. We're in a time of great danger, All right. Now, again, hold on real quick. All right. Again, see, all of this game playing is like I say earlier, is really about to go out the window, which is fine. It makes me know, never mind. See, at the end of the day, we understand greatly how judgment must come out. You know what I'm saying? So this message is really to only certain people. Really, to the average person, you really should just go, check out the Lakers versus the Timberwolves game or something, So it says, verse 16, it says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Exactly. This is the point. Redeeming the times, being mindful of the times that you're in. The majority of people out here are stupid, Yeah, 144. The majority of people out here are really just stupid, They're like I said earlier, me and a brother was speaking about, here it is, the world is crumbling, man. As we're speaking now, as I'm going to go into now, that the supply chain is literally could snap in a matter of days, like 30 to 45 days. the whole supply chain could snap right before our eyes. But everybody's on the internet arguing about if 100 men could beat up a gorilla. You know, this is where the minds of the people are. And the minds of the people are stuck on stupid. Matter of fact, and that's scriptural in itself as well. Let's get that actually. Let's go to Proverbs. What was that? Proverbs 1:22. And it says, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Yeah, the majority of people are stuck on stupid, you know, and that's fine. You know, this message, this word, this truth is only for a small remnant anyway. You know, it's not for everybody. Like I say again, the Lord, who you ignorantly call God and Jesus Christ, wants to jack you up. He wants to catch the majority of you people twisted. That's why, again, if the Lord was with this place with these so-called tariffs that are about to create famines, would be happening? No. Scriptures speak about it. If you keep his commandments, that he would give you your rain in its due season. All right. Basically implying that he would give you your crops. He would give you that. When the Lord is with you, that's what he does. He feeds you. But this Lord what is he doing? He's cutting the food supply off to this place. That's what's happening. The supplies, medical supplies, all of this shit is about to get real. It's about to get real dicey if it continues to go in the path of which it's going. Like I said, I did a lesson yesterday, going into the LA, the Los Angeles port, which I was thinking about in the spirit anyway. All the ports, all American ports are cooked right now. So let's look that up. Let's see what a port is. Let's see if something comes up. All right. A port. All right, I like this definition. A port is a gate, an entrance to a place, a portal, the gate or town of a fortress. All right. A bay, a cove, inlet, a recess of large body of water where vessels can load and unload. So you have like the Los Angeles port, the port of Miami, Baltimore ports, up the coastlines. But then you have airports. See, another thing with airports as well is, yeah, we use them for individual purposes. Like if I need to get to Texas in a few hours and I don't want to drive, I can obviously catch it. I can go to the airport and they will travel me. But a major portion of the reasons why the government backs up airports and these planes is because they transport a lot of goods as well underneath. See, while you're on the plane above, there might be all kind of fruits and vegetables, all kind of who knows what underneath the plane. It's a way of traveling. It's a way of transportation, I should say. Traffic, you know? So all the ports in America are really cooked right now. All right? The car market is cooked. People are afraid to fly in airplanes. Airplanes been crashing, falling out the sky all year. Right? Helicopter plane crashes, all that shit has been happening. Destroying the confidence in these forms of transportation. All right? Now your ports are basically ghost towns. All right? And it started with the West Coast ports. We started hearing, you know, just yesterday, the talks, people were doing their research and seeing, you know, the Seattle port, the Los Angeles port, the other ports in California. Now, people who have been doing their research and they're seeing how this is affecting the ports in Florida, the ports in Virginia, Baltimore, New York, all and up and down the East Coast. Okay? This is a hit on the ports. All the ports in America are cooked. These are not things. See, this is how they keep you in the the saying goes with the toad, you know. They liken Americans unto basically frogs or toads or bullfrogs, where bullfrogs are known for their stubbornness. So if you put a bullfrog, they say, in a pot of water, and you cut the heat up slowly cutting it up to a heat that by the time it realizes the heat is cut up on it to that temp, it's already cooked. And that's how that's how the elite view the American people. All they've been doing is cutting the heat up. But the stubbornness, the stupidity, the simplicity of the American people mainly won't allow them to realize your ass is in hot fucking water. You've been in hot fucking water. That's why I said things could change drastically. This is the times that we're in. All right. So again, excuse me. I'm saying this as a, of course it doesn't say this in the scriptures, but redeeming the times, measuring the times, looking at what's happening. It's not too far-fetched to say, hey man, if things keep proceeding in the way that they are with these tariffs, with the supplies, it ain't gonna be hard to see that things could be in a real different dire situation come the summertime. All right, come the summertime, it could all change. It could all be worse. It could be curfews. You got Trump with he just signed in an executive order basically giving him the right to implement martial law in America. Why does he need to do that? Because see, if these shelves get real empty, I brought this out yesterday, but hey, it's a scripture, so you can't bring out the same scripture too many times. Ecclesiastes 12. Ecclesiastes 12, and I'm gonna go straight to the point. 4. Well, I'll start at 3. I can't. It's Ecclesiastes 12 and 3. And it says, and in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. And that's where we are. The grinding is about to cease completely. See, when you can't get these, I'm sorry, let me see. Yeah. And when you can't, when these, as I was saying, these ports, you got the water, these, and you got to think, what was a major movie, a few years back was what? Leave the World Behind. And in that movie, one of the biggest scenes was what? The cargo ship that came on sea, that came on the land, and so on and so forth. And then what? Fast forward a few years back, you had the ship that hit that bridge. All of these may seem like coincidences, but really how the elite move, they move. These things are like they're coded messages for them in certain places. Just like 9/11 was a coded message to the elite, to those in the know. They do things like that. They show these things in the movie. Then they do certain things, predictive programming. All of it goes hand in hand. But overall, this place, as far as the shippers, now we're talking more about the ports. You had that dude, and it was the ports were threatening to protest a few months back. All of these things build up energy around these things, whether you notice it or not. All right. But it says here that the grinding cease because they are few. So let's look at the like I said, the ports. The ports come in with those metric tons of stuff. Metric tons of stuff come in to these ports. And then from there, what happens? That's where you if you've ever played said it's not that it's not the earth that's bad, but it's the people on it. Yeah, it's very true. No argument there. Job 9 and 24 tells you that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So that's very true. That's why the Lord is about to come back and eradicate the wicked um, off the planet Earth, kick them out of their position and put them in their right position. So yeah, that's what this is all going into. But before we get to that point, there's elements of prophecy and breaking down of Babylon the Great that must play out. And part of it, again, is the economic side of it. You know, the economic downturn of this place is a major hit. See, because how does an empire stay strong? How does a nation stay strong? Really through three ways. That's your military strength, your economic strength, and whether people like to admit it or not, your your spiritual strength. Those three basically ropes are what makes up a society, and everything breaks off of that. But you know, every empire is ruled by, it has a religion that it willing to die for and kill for. You know, economically it's strong in trade, and then it's militarily it's strong to protect itself and expand if necessary. So again, the ceasing, you go from the ports to the truck drivers that take the trucks, take the cargo ships to what? They take them to these distribution centers, or they take them to trains, right? And then you see these things move from in some cases the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, to these distribution centers that are scattered throughout America, right? You know, like Walmart's on steroids, because Walmart have distribution centers, Amazon has distribution centers, and then all the material gets broken down from there to your individual Walmarts, your individual Targets, your individual grocery stores, and so on and so forth. And then from there, that's where you, the consumer, us, the consumers, are able to walk in and go to the shelf and go pick up that toilet roll, that ketchup, that chicken, batteries, Band-Aids, whatever it is that you need. That's pretty much your supply chain in a brief description. Of course, it's probably way more complicated, but we don't need the complicated understanding to understand that this line is breaking down fast. That's the point. When there's no cargo to take off those ports, that means truckers are going to have to, start losing jobs, start getting hours cut, because there's not enough stuff to move. That's why I said it's a ripple effect across the whole thing before it gets to you. That's why we haven't seen it yet. You see, that's how big the economy is. That's how big the currency that is flowing through this place really is that this shock waves that Trump sent through with these tariffs about a month or so ago, we haven't even begun to see the effects of it yet. See, because a lot of people think that, which we should all be able to see. I know I'm not rambling, but ranting a little bit. But when you see how you place an order on a small level to Amazon, and you say, hey, I want those boxing gloves. And then Amazon will already have it, and they'll drop it off. You'll get it in a day, 3 days, wherever, however the shipping is, or you pay. But you got to remember, before all that shit got to America to be able to move to you in a matter of a day to 3, it probably took 3 months, 2 months for it to get from one side of the globe to the other side. That took some time. And that's what they were saying. That's why if you look into it, they're now starting to really use that R word. And what do I mean, the R word? Recession. They're starting to throw that word out there. Because see, what is a recession? What is the definition? Let's look that up, actually. What is the actual definition? What does it mean? Because people throw that, oh, we're in a recession. Just because you are having a hard time paying your bills does not necessarily mean that we're in a recession. All right. But now when a lot of people that could hint at we're in a recession, but let's just see what the definition of recession is. All right. A recession is a sustained period of economic decline characterized by a significant downturn in economic activity including factors like failing GDP, job losses, and reduced consumer spending. Does that not sound like where we are? Does that not sound like America at this moment? Let's read that last part again. A significant downturn in economic activity, and what they're anticipating or predicting, I should say, for the next quarter is because these companies anticipated these Trump tariffs and they saw it. They placed a lot of orders. You know, you probably heard the story of Apple. Apple had a bunch of planes fly in to America full of, like I said, these airports. They had planes flying in. I'm talking about not no little, you know, sharecrop duster planes. I'm talking about big 747 Boeing planes full of nothing but iPhones, so that they could what, sell them at this price, because they understand that if tariffs continue on and the supply gets lower, that they're going to have to charge more, and more than likely people are not going to pay $3,000 for an iPhone, $4,000 for an iPhone. That's just the way that it could go. Okay, so it says a significant downturn in economic activity. So right, so now that that supply is done and these tariffs are coming in and these port fees are coming into play and all of this stuff, now these companies and stuff are not moving in the same energy, because that's now a downturn. All right, now I believe when you have two consecutive, I believe, quarters that are in a decline, that's what's considered a recession. Okay, including failing GDP, right? Gross domestic product. You know, that goes into spending, that goes into a lot of other factors that would have to be down. Most people are not in a, like I said yesterday, the other lesson I did the other day, you have macroeconomics and you have microeconomics. You know, on a very simplistic viewpoint of those terms, you can look at microeconomics as your home, your community, your neighborhood, your zip code is a microeconomics. The whole country as a whole, the federal government, you could look at it that way, would be your macroeconomics, the whole thing. So the whole thing is overall. That's why it says job loss. If one area is experiencing a little bit of job loss, if Texas is experiencing job loss, that might not be the end of the world. That's just Texas. But if 49 states are experiencing job loss, then that's a big problem. Okay. So again, yeah, there we go. That's right. Here it is. Excuse me. I got jumped the gun. It says it's often marked by 2 or more consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. That's the definition. At least 2. So if we go into this next one and nothing changes for the good by the fall, you could definitely say we are in a recession. All right. Now let's see, for the sake of this, what is it? What is a depression? I'm sorry, I got all these windows open. What is a depression economy? It says an economic depression is a severe and prolonged downturn in economic activity, typically characterized by a sharp decline in gross domestic product, GDP, widespread unemployment, and a significant drop in business and personal confidence. See, like I think Obama said this, right? When it happens to you, it's a Great Depression. When it happens to your neighbor, it's a recession. When it happens to you, it's a Great Depression. And that's the selfishness of people. And that's how like with most people, as long as you think that you are good, everything is good, as long as you think your job is fulfilling you, as long as you think you're able to pay your bills, eat your food, everything is good. But when you look outside and you see these food banks and the lines that are there and everything that's going on in the world, crime is not a natural thing. Crime happens behind economic restraints. People in bad economic situations turn to crime. That's what happens economically. So again, why is all of this happening? This place is on a severe downturn. All right. I was watching this video. I'm on my phone, but it was on IG, and it was this white girl, the white lady, and she was going into this to speaking on, you know, all these points that I'm speaking on in her own way of, but she was speaking on people not having the strength to deal with another Great Depression, and that's the truth. This is a different time. See, in 1929. I believe that was when the Great Depression was. Those people were more independent. They had their own garden. They had their own farm. They had their own animals. See, my my mother's aunt, she's passed away at this point, but you know, and my mother is in her 60s, so this lady, if she was alive, would be in her 90s. My mother and her cousin would tell me all the time about her farming. This is in South Carolina. They had their own farm, and so on and so forth. See, that's not too long ago, a normal history for a lot of us down in the South. Our grandparents, a lot of our grandparents in the South were farmers, had cattle. That wasn't 50, 60 years ago, okay? So again, they were able to handle certain stresses of the society way different than you are, where you're paying $10 for bread when they were able to go to go and buy a pound of flour for a few cents. All right. Or they had their own wheat. They grew their own wheat. They grew these things and were able to live off these things, trade these things. You don't got no bartering power. All right. So it says widespread unemployment and significant drops in business and personal confidence. So you hear that? Personal confidence. All right. Because see, we're in a time now too where you go in your town, wherever you live at. Go drive by your local mall. Go walk through the mall and see how vibrant your mall is. See, when you see all these store closures, right? Where do you think most of these stores are located in? These stores, let's look that up. All right. Store closing, this is in 2025. All right. Let's see what I'm just doing a basic search. It says in 2025, many retailers are closing stores with over 15,000 closures expected. All right. Major chains like Joann, Macy's, Kohl's, Walgreens, and Starbucks are among those making significant cuts. The trend is attributed to factors like online shopping and the changing retail landscape. All right. Joann's Fabric and Craft Store are closing a significant portion of their 850 stores, with many locations closing in April. Macy's is closing 66 stores. Kohl's 27. Walgreens is closing 500 locations. Starbucks will close several stores. It doesn't say a number. Party City is filing for bankruptcy. I know Hooters is filing for bankruptcy. So you have all of these stores that are closing down. Okay? They are, what is that going to do? That's going to affect everything. That's workers. That's everything, But what was I getting to? The point of, go back and drive through your town and go look at your malls. Go in your malls. Go drive through your plazas and see how these plazas are empty. For lease signs up, for sale signs up. Contact this person. All kind of commercial real estate is for sale, or for rent, I should say. Either or. All right, now let's go back to that Ecclesiastes 12:3 again. And it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few. and those that look out the windows be darkened. All right, that's that, you know, Felice. Now let's look up the look. Let's see if I can get some. I got so many. All right. Let's see. Shit, you can get commercial real estate in certain areas cheaper than you can rent. That's how bad commercial real estate is right now. Let's see. I'm just doing a simple Google search. All right, I just did a Google search for commercial real estate is down. All right. And it says AI overview. And it says, yes, commercial real estate values have decreased in recent years, particularly in the US. The total dollar value of commercial real estate transactions was down significant in 2023 compared to 2022. Pricing has fallen by 7% in past years, with office buildings experiencing a more significant decline. Yes, commercial real estate is not flourishing, man. Like I said, go drive to hell with where I live at. Go in your city, your town. Drive through your plazas and see how many storefronts are for rent, for lease. Contact this person, contact that person. Big stores fronts closed down. Small storefronts closed down. Go in your malls. I live here in Metro Atlanta. Listen, man, the only malls that somewhat got a little life to them out of I can name probably 10 malls. But the only ones in this region that got any level of life to them is Lenox, because that's Lenox Square, Phipps Plaza. These are the very expensive, rich, you know, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. These brands are in these malls. Perimeter Mall is another one kind of like that. And you know what that is? You want to know the only malls that are surviving in America are Simon Brother properties. All right. Most of your malls, most of your outlets are either Simon Brothers or Tanger outlets. They're all owned by the same company, but all like here in Atlanta. But if you live in this region, South DeKalb Mall cooked, North DeKalb Mall got demolished. All right. Ain't nobody going to South Mauro Mall. Stonecrest is cooked. These malls are cooked. All right. Because commercial real estate, there's no confidence in commercial real estate. See, everybody out here has a great idea. You know, everybody out here, come on, man. Think about it. Over the last 5 years of this decade, everybody has had a chance. If you wanted to open up a restaurant, you tried. You know, if you wanted to do a chicken wing spot, an ice cream shop, you name it. Everybody, for the most part, has tried it. You know, you wanted to own a clothing store, clothing line, you know, right. Think about all of these things. Everybody out here has a business idea or a business plan, but what's the problem? Your confidence in the ability of starting that shit and it being successful is man. And listen, that's why it's going down, is because nobody has confidence in this shit no more. There's no confidence in the business structure of America to even invest into something like that. You got business happening, but even still, it's not the same as it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, if you had a business plan in America, you could just start it and you was going to be all right. Hey, listen, man, I remember I always highlight this. When I was growing up, there used to be this restaurant and all it was a salad bar. And I remember as a child, like, man, this is a bugged out idea. It was just a salad bar. It wasn't no hot things. It was just different lettuce, different salad dressings, different toppings. And niggas was going in there with their whole family, eating fucking salad like it was a golden corral. But see, that was a time in American history where that shit you could do anything you wanted. It was America. Really, you could do anything you wanted and you had a high chance of it being successful. But now, let me get that. I know I brought these scriptures out the other day, but hey, it's the Holy Bible. That's how it works, you know. Let's go to King James. Yep, that's the spirit. Isaiah 19 and 14. It says, "The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst and I'm sorry, let me start this. The Lord has mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. And we went into that. It's basically wicked. It's backwards. You know? That's why I said in America, hard work does not pay anymore. Hard work actually works against you. You know what I'm saying? This place is, it doesn't matter if you do. That's why, again, in this place, many people are getting a man to hell with an attitude. People are quitting their jobs because they're feeling like, what is the purpose of it? That whole structure, that boomer structure is gone. You know, you go work your job, you know, you can kind of be a, like, think about it. The Simpsons. Homer Simpson was a dumbass. Homer Simpson is America's dumbass. But he was able to, his wife didn't have to work. He had 3 children. He was able to take care of all the bills, all the responsibilities. He had friends. He was able to live a decent fucking life. That's not the way of America no more. All right, you got dumbass people rich, and you got smart people struggling. That's not. That's a perverse spirit. And it says, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunk man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or the tail or the branch or rush may do. Yeah, this is a high level of unemployment that's about to hit this place. See, another thing they were talking about on the NPR radio I was listening to today is this AI. They're going to use this to launch in a lot of robotics. A lot of AI is about to be introduced into a lot of these industries. They're already predicting it and putting it out there. And I'm not talking about just a couple thousands of jobs. They're talking about millions of jobs are about to be affected by this. All right, they try to sell the idea that, oh, millions of jobs will be made for this. Get the fuck out of here, man. You believe that shit if you want. That's a lie. How the fuck is there going to be more jobs for you and for the people when they're creating things to take away your jobs as we speak in every industry, as they said on the news? So again, it says that there shall be neither shall there be any work for Egypt. Yeah, because the Pharaoh of this place, which is Donald Trump, is basically fucking up the economy. All right, and he's doing it on purpose. See, like the elder brother, Amon Gabar was saying in a lesson earlier, you know, with a hard reset. When you reset anything, he was hinting, what he was saying is you gotta shut it down. See, if your computer is jacked up or you got a new file cut into it, before it could start working, it'll tell you, it'll cut off on its own. It'll reset and it'll turn back on. And then that program will be installed. It's the same thing with this system. They're going to have to shut this place down in a hard way. So that says there's not going to be any work for you, you know, what you think you got a high class job or if you got a low class job. It's all disappearing. It's all working against you. Nurses are bankrupt and quitting. You know, nurses used to flex how much money they made. And now it's like, man, this shit ain't even worth it. That's everything. Because the system itself is cannibalizing the people. As they like to say, this is late stages of capitalism. All right. And here's the kicker. And I'm probably going to close up here. It's getting a little late on my end. The thing about it is the way this system is set up, we as the people are deemed corporations. We are viewed as corporations. You, me, your straw man, as they like to say. So as they are liquidating and shutting down businesses behind this economic downturn, they're going to start decreasing you people, the businesses as well. Remember, you're a corporation too. All right. I forget the term, but they're going to start closing out these businesses, which are the people. That's the overall goal. That's why they don't look at you as people. They look at you as a business. They look at you like a corporation, an LLC. You are basically a walking, talking, breathing LLC in the eyes of the elite. All right. And there shall be no work for you. That's what's coming. because all this supply chain affects everybody. It affects us all. If you work anywhere in the industry of homes and Home Depot start not having products, a lot of shit, what the fuck you think that's gonna do for homes, for properties, for buildings, for maintenance? All right. All of this shit gets questionable. What about medical things? If medical things start not coming in, supplies, all the different things, whatever that is that comes into this country. I believe they said all the antibiotics come from China. All of our antibiotics come from China. So you got to look at this whole thing and see it's too many variables moving around for you to believe that America is in some position to handle all of this. It's the same way that ancient Rome fell. It was spread too thin. This place is being spread too thin. And then you got the people on the inside of it. Americans are pissed off. You got all kind of protests that are going to occur tomorrow. You know, tomorrow is May Day. All right, which is a major Illuminati day. Don't be surprised if something was to occur. All right, which when you look at the back of your dollar, like I said, I'm about to close up here. You look at the back of your dollar, it says what? May 1st, 1776. People think that the bottom of the dollar that at 1776 is talking about July 4th. No, that's speaking about when the creation of the founding of the Illuminati was May 1st, 1776. CA 144, man. So again, we're in the midst of the elite completing their mission. That's where we're really at. They're about to bring this shit home, man. If you can't feel it, you don't see it. And the one way that they're gonna do it is they're gonna start trying to starve the people out, man. Cause see, man, you control, like Henry Kissinger said, you control the food, you control the people. The average person can't go half a day without food, man. Let's be clear, man. The average person, let it, see, like I say, there's two types of mind frames. There's the mind frame of, damn, and I'm like, man, I'm hungry right now. So like even me right now, I'm hungry. I could eat. But it's like, damn, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, so it's okay. All right, I'll get something to eat in the morning. I'll eat tomorrow. All right. There's no stress there. But what if in your head, there's no more McDonald's, there's no more Burger King, there's no more food in the Walmart, grocery stores. That seriousness is going to hit your body in a way where a lot of people are going to panic, like lose their shit off of the fact that, oh my God, where are we going to get food? So that thought hasn't hit a lot of people. I mean, remember, during the pandemic, people were fighting over toilet paper. Remember that? Toilet paper and wine, I remember. That's what was a major thing that people were fighting over. What happens when this is the last pack of chicken on the east side of your town? What happens when this is the last bread? This is the last this is the last that. There is no more of that. There's no more. I mean, I keep saying the same food, but that could fit any item. And what we're gonna learn very hard soon, the hard way, is how many items actually do come from China. See, everybody loses sight of that. And what all of this has taught me as well in this is how much of the supply chain that comes into America actually, like I said, in Los Angeles port, the busiest port in America, 45%, 45% of all the shipments that comes into that port come from China. The busiest port in America, 45% of all of its shipments are from China. Okay. So we're going to learn what all those items are. Because when we start not seeing them, whether that's car brakes, car parts, another thing that comes from China that a lot of people don't think about is your HVAC system parts. We're going into summer. All right. You know how it gets, man. We're a society of people that stay inside more. We it gets hot as fuck outside, 105, 100 degrees in the shadow type temperatures. You pumping out, you pushing your AC HVAC systems to the limit. So that means when those parts go out, these jobs is about to get way more expensive to fix HVAC systems. That's just one item. These are items, like I said, that you find out over time. Like, oh, wow, most of our HVAC system pieces are not made in America. They come from China. Shit. See? So, yeah, man, things could change in the next 35 to 45 days, which puts us, let's see. I'm going to close up. I'm curious about the date. Let's see. 45 days from today puts us at June 14th. So 45 days from today right now puts us at June 14th, which is not far away, man. That's not far away, man. We're in May. All right, we're basically in May. That's May and halfway to June, because tomorrow's May 1st. So yeah, 45 days from tomorrow basically is June 15th. That's not far away. It's the school year. Again, man, time. Scriptures. As a matter of fact, I got a few more scriptures. Let's go to Romans. Romans 13. Romans 13 and 11. And it says, and that knowing the time, like we read earlier, redeeming that time, measuring the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So as close as we believe, and even in my spirit, I'm still like, yeah. We know we gotta go through this, so they could go down here, and maybe we could be out of here. And you try to, not live in a very hyped mode. You look at it from an element of, yeah, we could be out of here in the next few years, but even in that mind frame, the Lord it could happen a lot faster. The scriptures say that this is as a breaching wall. When a dam collapses, it doesn't just happen. A dam doesn't collapse over 10 years. If enough chunks fall out that bitch, enough pressure water gonna come through, and it's gonna destroy that wall, that dam. And that's what's happening. So, amen, things could be completely different today versus June, by the mid-June. The way things is going. By mid-June, the last shipment that's supposed to be coming from China is the 11th of this month. May 11th, the last shipment. There are already a few shipments that are done, and those shipments that are coming empty. So again, imagine come May. Imagine June. Imagine July. When it sets in. Where is this production that's going to come in to change this? What's going to happen? Like what I say, even with the HVAC, what's going to happen with the electricity? A lot of these parts for our shit comes from China. Okay? Hey, so with that, man, I'm going to close this up. I'm going to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Shalom.